This is a short introduction to LearnZillion. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what LearnZillion is and how it can help you in your classroom. So let's start by talking a little bit about who I am and how I got involved with LearnZillion. I am a teacher. I've been working as a teacher for about 6 years, and I became involved with LearnZillion when I applied to be a member of their 2014 Dream Team to help build some lessons for them. So, what's the most important thing to you when looking for resources to use in your class? For me, I'm always looking for things that are really standards-based, really easy to use, and just really clear and helpful for students. And this is a question about how familiar you are with LearnZillion, but it works a lot better when I'm talking to actual people instead of just talking to my computer, so I'm going to skip it. Let's start by taking an overview of LearnZillion.com. LearnZillion has everything you need to teach the new standards, including complete lesson plans, as well as thousands of video lessons. The key components are that it's for grades 2 through 12. It has math and ELA resources, including stuff for closed reading and writing. There's a free side with thousands of short videos and hundreds of lesson plans per grade. And there's also a premium side, which includes complete lesson plans for the year and access to professional development platforms. So who uses LearnZillion? Well, teachers do, like me. So let's take a look at the math lessons. Math lessons on LearnZillion are all task-based. The whole lesson is built around a task, where students start trying to solve, and everything in the lesson helps students to build up to complete a task. There's also teacher's notes that will help guide you through this, and as you can see, they're really pretty short and right to the point, and they address questions you could ask, task-specific questions, common misconceptions and errors, possible solutions, and anything else you might need to help you teach this lesson. Math lessons also have a quick formative assessment where students can actually show whether or not they understand the concept or not. And math lessons have leveled practice sheets. So you're seeing here 3 levels of practice sheets. One level is for students who are really struggling and need a lot of scaffolding. We have a middle level for students who are getting the concept but still need a little bit of help. And then you have students who are rock solid and ready to go. And students need to do tasks because a lot of the new assessments coming out will require them to do that. But honestly, and more importantly, for students to really understand math, they need to be able to apply it to real-world situations. So, something to think about is, how do task-based lessons build on what you're already doing in your classroom? Alright, let's take a look at the close reading and write-along lessons. Close reading units are 5 days of lessons designed to help readers tackle a complex text. You can kind of think of a close reading unit as a big mountain, where students are presented with this really complex text, and you spend 5 days building them up towards the big idea or key takeaway. If you're unfamiliar with close reading, I'll be doing another video to kind of get more in depth with it later. These lessons include everything you need, including the anchor text, text-dependent questions for each lesson, and student handouts. There's also teacher notes with suggested pacing, the standards that they address, and anything else you might need. At the end of each lesson, there's also a comprehension skill video. What these videos do is they walk through the skills that you've been teaching in that lesson using that same text. And these are perfect for struggling students or even the whole class if they're struggling understanding something, to provide extra support and help them understand what you're trying to teach. Then we have the interactive write-along videos that are really for targeting writing interventions. And each of them culminates in a formative assessment. Now, each of these is a standalone lesson, and they're all based on the Common Core standards. So for example, you picture your class and some of them are struggling with using commas correctly, and some of them are not introducing their topics clearly in an essay, and some of them are not using transition words. It's very hard to get to all of those students. With these lessons, what you can do is you can assign video lessons to students to do independently if you have the technology in your classroom to do that, or you can pull small groups and use a lesson with a small group, or you can even use these video lessons as a whole group lesson for your entire class. Each lesson comes with a practice sheet, and periodically through the lesson it will prompt students to pause the video and work on their practice sheet. And these lessons follow a guided release model where there's a lot of scaffolding to begin with, and that's slowly removed until at the end of the lesson for the formative assessment, the student is asked to apply the skill independently. Here's an example of a ride-along skills video. I encourage you to check them out on LearnZillion.com. I'm not going to play the whole video for you here though, because that would take forever. So something to think about is, how do the close reading and ride-along resources build on what you're already doing in your classroom? As you're thinking about this, keep in mind, close reading is not meant to be the only thing you do in your reading block. Close reading is something that you can do in addition to whatever reading program you already have to reinforce skills or to look closely at content area texts in social studies and science. Let's take a look at those free video lessons I mentioned earlier. So on LearnZillion, you're also going to find thousands of these individual video lessons. Now, you can do a lot of different things with these. You can review the content yourself and use it in class to teach a lesson. You can actually go and download the lesson slides and modify them if you want. You can use them as extra support or a challenge for students, and you can also share them with parents. When you're looking at one of these short video lessons, this is what the page is going to look like. And you can see on the left-hand side how it fits within a set of lessons. You have the video in the middle, which is the lesson itself. And then on the right-hand side, you can explore resources, including the PowerPoint lesson slides that are used, so that you can download those and edit them, as well as a parent letter or a discussion protocol. So to find these, you can use the Common Core Navigator on LearnZillion.com. Just choose the relevant tab with either Math grades K through 8, Math High School, or English Language Arts, and then look for your right grade band for your grade. Then you're going to look for the relevant domain, and you can see all those little folders on there. You click on a folder to look at a set of lessons that addresses that specific standard. When you click on one of those little folders, this is what's going to pop up. So you can see this is the folder for understanding ratios and using ratio language to describe a ratio relationship. And you can see then this series of lessons that goes along under that folder. You can also just use search to find any resource on the site, and this includes individual lessons or reviewing an entire set. So something to think about is, how could you integrate the video lessons into your instruction? So let's take a look at the background on the process and ask, who creates these resources? Well, educators do. Teachers, like you and me. These teachers come from 42 different states. There were 4,000 applicants for the 2014 Dream Team, and 200 educators were selected. These educators came together to collaborate in grade-level teams with content experts and spent the entire summer working to build these lessons. Something to think about as we wrap up. What stands out to you about the LearnZillion resources? How do you imagine using LearnZillion resources with your students? And is there anything you'd like to know more about? If so, you can just leave a comment on the video or shoot me an email. One last thing before I go. If you thought this little presentation was pretty spiffy, it's because it is. And this is actually what your lessons will look like, because this is an example of a LearnZillion lesson. So for your reading and math lessons, this is actually what the presentation mode looks like when you're teaching your class. And you can see if I go up here, I can easily go back to default mode, and this is what it would actually look like if you were teaching a lesson. You would have your lesson title here, and you have the options, the teacher handout or present to class, and you can go through each slide and see the teacher's notes, as well as click through and see all the slides that we just went through. It makes it super easy to see what a whole lesson is like from a glance, instead of leafing through pages and pages and stuff. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I really hope you enjoy using LearnZillion. Thanks.